The night was quiet. The small town slept under a cold sky, and only the sound of the wind touched the empty streets. Inside a little house at the edge of the woods, a man named John sat awake. He was tired, but his mind refused to rest. His life had been ordinary, maybe even boring. Work, sleep, repeat. But tonight everything would change. John sat near the window, staring into the dark forest. The moonlight was pale silver on the trees. Suddenly a glow appeared. At first he thought it was the moon breaking through clouds, but no, it was something else. The light was brighter, sharper, moving slowly between the trees. His heart began to beat faster. He leaned forward, pressing his forehead to the glass. The glow grew larger. It was not fire, not cars, not anything human. The trees lit up like ghosts as the light washed over them. Then the ground trembled, a deep vibration that rattled the window frame. John whispered to himself, "What is that?" The glow rose higher into the sky. Now he could see it was not one light, but many. They formed a circle, glowing white-blue, spinning gently above the forest. For a second he thought he was dreaming. He rubbed his eyes, but the lights were still there. The sound came next. A low hum, soft but heavy, like the voice of the earth itself. The house shook. His heart pounded. He wanted to run, to hide under the bed like a child, but he couldn't move. His eyes were trapped on the strange sight. Then it happened. From the middle of the spinning lights, something began to appear. First it was only a shadow, then a shape, then a ship. Huge, silent, and smooth like flowing metal. It looked alive, like the skin of some giant creature rather than a machine. It floated above the forest, glowing softly. John stepped back from the window. His legs felt weak. "No, this can't be real," he whispered. But it was real. The ship drifted closer. Slowly, carefully, as if it already knew where to go. It stopped just above the clearing in front of his house. John's breathing grew heavy. His hands shook. He felt small, like an insect before a mountain. Every story, every movie about aliens flashed in his mind. Were they here to destroy? To conquer? To take? The ship hung in silence, waiting. Then, with a sound like thunder cracking inside his skull, a voice filled his head. It was not spoken aloud. It was inside him, deep, like a thought that was not his own. "John Carter." He froze, his name. Not shouted, not asked. It was spoken with certainty, as if whoever called him had always known him. John stumbled back, hitting the chair behind him. His mouth went dry. What is this? Who are you?" His voice was barely a whisper, but the air seemed to carry it. The lights around the ship shifted. They glowed brighter, then dimmed, then formed strange patterns in the air. It was like the ship was answering him with symbols no human could read. The voice returned, calm but commanding. "You are chosen. Step outside." His knees almost gave way. Chosen him? He was no soldier, no scientist, no leader. He was just a man who lived alone at the edge of the woods. Why would aliens come across the stars for him? Fear wrapped around him, cold and sharp. But curiosity pulled harder. The ship waited. The voice was patient, but heavy with meaning. Whoever called him did not ask. They expected him to obey. John's mind screamed at him to hide, to call someone, to run. But deep inside, something else whispered. Something older, quieter. "Go." He reached for the door. His hand trembled on the handle. For a moment he stood frozen, listening to the silence. The world outside seemed to hold its breath. Then slowly he opened the door. The night hit him, cold and sharp. The lights bathed the clearing in blue glow. The ship floated above like a silent moon, massive and alien. The hum filled the air, vibrating through his bones. John stepped forward. The grass bent under his feet, glowing faintly in the strange light. Every step felt heavy, as if the air itself was watching him. Then in front of him the ground opened. A beam of light shone down from the ship, brighter than the sun, but soft on his skin. He raised his hand to shield his eyes. The light wrapped around him, warm and pulling. His feet lifted from the ground. He gasped, trying to move, but the light held him gently, lifting him higher, higher into the air. The world below shrank. His house became a toy, the forest a dark carpet, the town a faint shadow in the distance. The sky filled with the shape of the ship, waiting like a giant mouth ready to swallow him whole. John's heart thundered. He wanted to scream, but no sound came, and then the voice returned one last time. "Do not fear. The Queen is waiting." The words echoed in his mind as the light pulled him into the ship. Darkness swallowed the night. John floated upward, wrapped in the soft beam of light. His body felt weightless like drifting in water, but he could still breathe. His arms and legs moved slowly as if the air had become heavy. He wanted to fight, to struggle, but something inside told him it was useless. The ship wanted him, and the ship was stronger than anything he could imagine. The closer he came, the larger the vessel grew. From the ground, it had seemed like a mountain of metal. Up close, he saw it was alive with shifting patterns, lines of light that crawled across its surface like veins under skin. The ship seemed to breathe, glowing brighter and then dimmer in a slow rhythm as though it had a pulse. The beam drew him into a wide opening at the bottom of the ship. There was no door, no hatch. The metal simply melted away, creating a round hole of blinding light. He passed through, and the hole closed behind him like liquid sealing shut. Inside, the silence was deeper than any silence he had ever known. No hum, no echo, no breath of wind, just emptiness and stillness. Then slowly, faint sounds returned, soft vibrations in the walls, a low thrum that seemed to come from the bones of the ship itself. John floated a few feet above the floor before the beam released him. His boots touched down on smooth metal that felt warm, almost alive under his feet. The floor glowed faintly with lines of light, forming shapes that twisted and shifted like moving rivers. He turned his head, trying to take it all in. The chamber was vast, stretching upward until it disappeared into shadow. Walls curved smoothly with no corners, as if carved from one giant piece of living stone. Strange symbols burned in the air like smoke made of light hanging and twisting before fading away. A sound broke the silence. A voice, but not the same one that had called him outside. This one was sharp clicking, layered like three voices speaking at once. John spun around. Shapes moved in the shadows. Figures stepped forward. At first, his heart leapt with fear. They were not human. Their bodies were tall and thin, their skin pale silver under the glowing light. Their heads were long, eyes black and deep, faces unreadable. They moved like shadows, silent and smooth. John stumbled back. His chest tightened. Were these guards? Hunters? Executioners? But they did not attack. They stopped a few feet away and tilted their heads, studying him as if he were the strange one. One of them raised a hand, long fingers stretched. A glow formed at its palm, and a voice slid into John's head. It was calm, direct, and heavy with meaning. You must come. John's throat was dry. Where? Why me? The alien did not answer with words. Instead, the floor beneath them shifted. Lines of light came alive, circling around John's feet, then spreading outward like ripples in water. The ground moved, carrying him forward, sliding him like a conveyor made of air. The aliens walked beside him, silent, watching. He was carried through a long corridor that twisted like a tunnel inside a giant creature. The walls shifted, changing color and shape as they passed, showing brief flashes of stars, strange planets and vast galaxies. It was as if the ship was alive, dreaming, and letting him see its memories. John's fear mixed with awe. For the first time, he wondered if he was meant to be here. Why else would they call him by name? Why else would they wait instead of simply taking him by force? The corridor ended at a massive door. Unlike the rest of the ship, this was clear, like glass made of light. Behind it was a chamber so bright it hurt his eyes. The aliens stopped. One of them pressed its hand against the glowing door. The light folded open, melting away like liquid glass. John stepped inside. The chamber was round, huge, filled with pillars that rose like giant trees. Between them floated spheres of light, turning slowly, each filled with strange images. In one sphere, he saw the earth itself, glowing blue and green. In another, he saw a planet broken into pieces, fire spilling into space. In yet another, he saw stars collapsing into black holes. John's breath caught. It was like walking through the mind of the universe. At the center of the chamber stood a platform. The air around it shimmered, thick and heavy. The aliens stopped at the edge and bowed their heads. One of them gestured with its long hand. Go forward. She waits. John's pulse quickened. Who waits? The queen? No answer. Just silence. His legs felt weak, but something pulled him forward. He climbed the steps to the platform. The closer he came, the heavier the air grew, like invisible hands pressing on his chest. At last, he saw her. She lay on a raised bed made of glowing crystal, her body tall and thin like the others, but different. Her skin shimmered faintly, glowing with colors that shifted like oil on water. Her face was peaceful but pale, her breathing slow and heavy as if each breath cost her great effort. A crown of living light floated above her head, faint but beautiful. The Queen. John froze at the bottom of the steps. His throat went dry. This was the one who had called him, the one who had spoken his name. Her eyes opened. They were not black like the others. They were silver, shining, filled with something that felt old, ancient, endless. Her lips did not move, but her voice filled his mind, soft and tired. You came. John's heart raced. His hands trembled. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. The Queen closed her eyes for a moment, her chest rising and falling with effort. Then her voice returned, weaker but full of weight. I am dying, and you, human, you are the last hope. The chamber fell silent. John stood frozen at the base of the glowing platform. The Queen lay before him, fragile yet powerful, her silver eyes dim with exhaustion. She looked nothing like the monsters he had once feared aliens to be. Instead, she seemed ancient, tired, and strangely human in her weakness. Her voice brushed against his mind again, soft but commanding. Come closer, John Carter. His legs shook, but he obeyed. Each step up the crystal stairs felt heavy, as if invisible chains were pulling at him. When he reached the top, he could see her more clearly. Her skin glimmered faintly, alive with shifting colors, but the glow was weak like a fire about to die. Her body was thin, her breath slow and strained. Her long hands rested across her chest, fingers trembling with every rise and fall. Though her crown of light still floated above her head, it flickered faintly like a candle flame in the wind. John swallowed hard. His fear began to mix with something else, pity. Whatever she was dying. You, his voice cracked. You know my name. How, why me? Her silver eyes locked on his. He felt her thoughts flow into him, words without sound. I have watched you since before you were born. I have watched your world since the first spark of your kind. Humanity carries a piece of us, and in you that piece burns brighter than in any other. John's head spun. A piece of you? What do you mean? The Queen coughed, a strange, sharp sound like cracking glass. The pillars around the chamber dimmed as if the ship itself felt her weakness. The alien guards outside shifted uneasily but did not step forward. Her voice grew fainter but still steady. My people shaped your kind long ago. We gave you fire thought and the will to climb. Without us, humans would have remained animals in the dark. But now we are gone. I am the last. John stared at her, stunned. His whole body felt cold. Was she saying that everything, human history, civilization, everything was touched by them? By her, the Queen's breathing grew slower. Her light flickered weaker, yet her eyes never left him. My body fails, she said. My blood is poisoned, my strength almost gone. But before I leave this universe, I must place what remains of us into one who can carry it. That is why you are here, John Carter. His knees nearly buckled. Me, I'm no one. I'm not special. I'm just... Her voice cut through his thoughts like a blade. You are chosen. You are the bridge between our kind and yours. You carry my echo. Without you, the last song of my people will vanish forever. John's heart hammered in his chest. He wanted to deny it, to scream that she had the wrong man, that this was some mistake. But when he looked into her silver eyes, he felt something deep inside him stir. A strange warmth, a pulse in his blood like a hidden truth waking up. He shook his head. I don't understand. What do you want from me? The Queen's hand trembled as she raised it, pointing toward him. A soft light spread from her fingertips, brushing against his skin. It was warm, soothing, but heavy with power. I want only this, she whispered into his mind. Stay, listen, carry my last request. And when the time comes... Choose. John's lips parted, but no words came. His body shook under the weight of her presence. The ship around them groaned, the walls pulsing with dull light. It was as if her sickness spread through everything she touched. The spheres of memory above flickered faster, showing fragments of battles, planets burning, stars collapsing. He saw her people standing tall and proud, and then falling, dying, vanishing. John gripped the edge of the crystal bed, his knuckles white. If you're dying, can't your people save you? These guards, this ship. Isn't there something? Her eyes softened, almost sad. They have tried, but no medicine, no machine can heal what has already ended. My body fades, and with it my people's memory. Only through you can anything remain. Her light dimmed further, Her breath came ragged. The crown above her head flickered so faintly it looked ready to vanish. John leaned closer. He could feel the heat of her presence fading. He could feel time running out. The Queen's voice became a whisper. "Do not be afraid. You are more than you know. And when I'm gone, you must decide how my gift will live." John's chest tightened. His mind screamed to run, to deny this impossible fate. But his heart ached with something deeper, a pull he could not explain. She reached out her trembling hand. Slowly, gently, John placed his palm against hers. The moment their skin touched, light exploded. It was not blinding, not painful. It was endless. He saw visions pour into him. Galaxies born and dying, rivers of stars, civilizations rising from dust. He felt pain, joy, loss, hope. He felt the weight of 1,000 years crash into his heart, and at the center of it all was her, the Queen. Her voice echoed one last time, quiet and fading. "Carry me, human." "Carry us," the light dimmed. Her hand slipped from his. Her body stilled. The crown above her head broke apart into sparks, floating like fireflies into the air. John staggered back, gasping. The chamber fell silent. The alien guards lowered their heads. The ship itself gave a deep, sorrowful hum, and John stood alone beside the Queen's lifeless form, her final words still burning inside him. The chamber was silent. The Queen's body lay still on the glowing crystal bed, her crown of light gone, scattered into sparks that floated upward and vanished. John's heart pounded as he stood over her. His hands trembled. He had just watched an alien queen die, and somehow her last words still echoed inside his mind. "Carry me, human." "Carry us," John stepped back, shaking his head. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to believe none of this was real. But the weight inside his chest told him otherwise. Something had changed. Something had entered him when he touched her hand. The alien guards at the edge of the chamber did not move. They stood still, heads bowed, their dark eyes glinting in the shifting light. It was as if they already knew this moment would come. John swallowed hard. "What do you want from me?" His voice cracked in the silence. A sound filled the chamber. At first he thought it was his imagination, her voice again. But her lips did not move, her body did not stir. The sound came from inside him. The Queen's voice, faint but clear, spoke in his mind. "My body is gone, but my memory remains. I cannot live, but I can endure in you, if you accept." John froze. He looked down at her lifeless form, then around at the glowing pillars. "Endure in me?" "Yes," the voice whispered. "My last request is simple. Do not let us be forgotten. Carry our truth. Carry our fire." John's throat went dry. He shook his head, backing away. "No, I can't. I'm not. Look at me. I'm no leader, no savior. I'm just a man. I work, I eat, I sleep. That's all. You've made a mistake." The voice grew stronger, pressing against his thoughts. "There are no mistakes. You were born for this. Every step of your life has led here." John's pulse raced. His legs weakened. He wanted to scream, to run, but the weight of her presence held him still. He could feel her inside him now, not alive, not flesh, but something deeper. A memory, a spark. The images came again. Stars being born, worlds rising, her people walking proud across shining cities. Then darkness, war, and fire swallowing everything. He saw her people fall one by one until only she remained. John clutched his head, groaning. "Stop, I can't. I don't want this." Her voice softened. "You must choose, John Carter. To live as you were and let us die with me, or to take our burden and let us live through you." The words cut through him. Choice. Burden. Live through him. The chamber seemed to pulse with her last strength. The pillars glowed brighter. The spheres of memory above spun faster, showing him more. Human history. He saw cavemen learning fire. He saw pyramids rising. He saw ships sailing across oceans, and in all of it, faint shadows of her people guiding from behind the veil. John's eyes widened. "It's true. You were there. You shaped us." "Yes," she whispered. "And now you are the last echo of us. My last request is this: take our gift. Guard it, pass it. Do not let humanity forget where they came from, or where they must go." His chest tightened. A gift, but what gift? Knowledge? Power? A curse? John clenched his fists. He wanted to refuse. He wanted to scream, to tell her he never asked for this. But when he looked down at her pale, silent body, he felt the weight of her people, the billions who had died, the endless years they had survived. The final spark now resting in him, he whispered hoarsely, "What? What if I fail?" The voice in his mind grew quiet like a fading breath. Then all of us vanish forever, and humanity will walk blind into its end. The words crushed him. He staggered back, but the chamber shifted. The walls rippled with light, forming shapes, symbols, paths he did not understand. It was as if the ship itself had heard her last command and was waiting for him to answer. The alien guards finally moved. Slowly they raised their heads. Their black eyes locked on him. Then without words they knelt. One by one they bent their tall bodies and lowered their heads as if bowing not to the dead queen, but to him. John's stomach turned. He shook his head violently. "No, don't do that. I'm not your queen. I'm not," but still they stayed bowed. The queen's voice whispered again, fading like the last note of a song. "They will follow you now. They will protect you. You are our last hope. Do not waste it." Then silence. Truly silent. Her voice was gone. John stood shaking, breath ragged, staring at the bowed figures. His heart screamed to run, but his body would not move. He felt something glowing inside his chest. A warmth that was not his. The gift she had spoken of. He dropped to his knees, clutching the floor. His world was gone. His old life was gone. And in its place, a dead queen had left him with her people's final request. The ship hummed softly, like a heartbeat waiting for his choice. John closed his eyes. He didn't answer, not yet. He couldn't, but deep inside he already knew. His life was no longer his own. The chamber was still. The queen's body lay silent on her glowing bed, but the weight of her presence had not left. John knelt on the floor, trembling, his hands pressed against the strange surface. His chest burned with the warmth she had left behind. It was not pain, not exactly. It was more like a second heartbeat, something alive inside him that did not belong to him. The alien guards remained kneeling, their heads bowed. They did not speak. They did not move. It was as if they were waiting, not for their queen, but for John. He could not take it. He rose to his feet, voice breaking. "Stop looking at me like that. I'm not her. I can't be what you want." But even as he spoke, the warmth inside him grew stronger. His vision blurred. The room around him shimmered, and then it changed. The glowing pillars vanished. The guards faded into shadow. The queen's body dissolved into light. Suddenly, John stood in the middle of a vast plain under a sky filled with stars. Strange towers rose in the distance, shining silver, and in the air hung ships like glowing birds. He was not in the chamber anymore. He was inside a memory. He spun in a circle, eyes wide. What is this?" The queen's voice answered, soft and far away. "This is our truth. What we were, what you must carry." Figures appeared around him, her people, tall, elegant, their silver eyes glowing as they walked across the shining plain. They moved with purpose, building, shaping, teaching. He saw them touch the ground, and cities rose. He saw them lift their hands, and the stars seemed to bend. They were builders, dreamers, makers of worlds. Then the vision shifted. The towers crumbled. The sky filled with fire. Ships burned. Entire planets shattered into dust. John gasped as the figures screamed, their silver eyes dimming one by one. The queen's voice trembled. "We were not eternal. We were proud. We believed we could control everything. But pride became our fall. War, hunger for power. And when the darkness came, we were too weak to stand together." John staggered as he saw a massive shadow spread across the stars, swallowing everything in its path. It was not clear what it was, an enemy, a force of nature, or both, but it consumed without mercy. Her voice grew softer. "I am the last. My people are gone, but we left one seed. Your kind." The stars shifted again. John saw Earth, a small blue world turning in the dark. He saw early humans, small and fragile, huddled around fire. And then he saw them. The queen's people. They walked among the humans, teaching them, guiding them. Not as gods, not as rulers, but as hidden hands shaping their path. John's heart thudded. He watched as humans learned to build, to speak, to dream. He saw the spark of intelligence grow brighter, stronger, faster. And always in the shadows, the silver-eyed beings watched and nudged them forward. The queen's voice whispered in his mind, "You are us and we are you. Our blood flows in your veins. Our fire burns in your hearts. Humanity is our child, our last echo. John staggered back, shaking his head. No, that's impossible, is it? She asked gently. Why does your kind look to the stars? Why do you build machines to reach beyond your world? Why do you dream of more, always more? That hunger did not come from the soil of earth, it came from us. His breath caught. The warmth in his chest pulsed harder, and he clutched his shirt. He could feel it, her blood, her memory, her legacy, woven into his own. The vision changed again. He saw himself standing on earth, but the world was different. Cities burned. Skies were black. Humanity fought itself, tearing itself apart with weapons that lit the night like suns. And above them, the shadow he had seen before spread again, hungering, waiting. The Queen's voice grew urgent. This is why I called you. The same darkness that ended us will come for you. Humanity must be ready. But they are blind. They do not remember us. They do not see what waits. John's heart hammered. So what do you want me to do? Tell them aliens made us? That a dying queen gave me her memories? They'll think I've lost my mind. Her voice grew softer, like a dying flame. You must guide them. Not as I did. Not as a queen, but as one of them. Teach them to stand together. To rise before the shadow comes. That is my last request. The vision shattered. John was back in the chamber, gasping for breath. Sweat dripped down his face. His chest still burned with the second heartbeat. The guards were still kneeling, silent, patient. He staggered, gripping the crystal bed. His voice shook. You want me to carry all of this? To warn humanity? To save them? The Queen's voice whispered faintly, the last echo of her fading presence. Not to save them. To prepare them. The choice will be theirs, but without the truth, they will fall as we fell. The warmth inside him pulsed once more, steady and strong. He realized it was not going away. It was part of him now. John sank to his knees, staring at the lifeless body before him. He was no longer just John Carter, the ordinary man who lived alone by the woods. He was the bearer of a dying empire's memory, the bridge between two species, and somewhere in the dark, the same shadow that had ended them was waiting for humanity. The chamber glowed faintly, its walls alive with moving lines of light. The Queen's body lay still on the crystal bed, but John could feel her presence burning in his chest, steady as a second heart. The alien guards remained kneeling, waiting in silence, their dark eyes fixed on him. John's mind raced. He had seen their history, their fall, their hidden hand in humanity's rise. He carried their memory now, but he did not understand the weight of it. Not yet. He whispered to himself, his voice trembling. Why me? Why not someone stronger? Smarter? A leader? Why me? The ship answered. The floor beneath him pulsed and the chamber shook. The glowing pillars bent and reshaped, opening pathways that spread outward like branches of a tree. The air thickened with a strange hum vibrating through his bones. The Queen's voice returned, faint but clear. My time is over, but I will not leave you empty-handed. You must have more than memory. You must have strength. John clutched his chest. The warmth inside him flared hotter, filling his veins with fire. He gasped, falling to his knees. The heat burned, but it was not pain, it was transformation. His senses sharpened. He could hear the hum of the ship as if it were breathing. He could see patterns of light on the walls, shifting like a language waiting to be read. What's happening to me? He cried out, the Queen's voice echoed in his mind. The gift of my blood, the last seed of my people. It will change you. It will prepare you for what is to come. The chamber darkened. Only the glowing spheres above remained, spinning faster, each one filled with images. One sphere broke free, floating down until it hovered in front of him. Inside, John saw a vision, himself standing in a ruined city, holding back a wave of shadow with light pouring from his hands. He staggered back, shaking his head. No, that can't be me. That's impossible. The sphere sank into his chest. His body arched as power surged through him. His eyes burned, his breath caught, and for a moment he thought his heart would burst. Then suddenly everything stilled. He collapsed, gasping. When he looked up, the world was different. The chamber was no longer just a room. He could see the ship itself, its living veins, its energy flowing like rivers through the walls, its thoughts whispering at the edges of his mind. The guards glowed faintly, their bodies humming with a light he had never noticed. He could even hear their hearts beating, steady and slow. John rose to his feet, unsteady but stronger. His body felt lighter, his breath deeper, his vision sharper. It was as if he had been blind all his life, and only now his eyes were truly open. The Queen's voice whispered softly, "You are no longer only human. You are the bridge. Carry my fire. Carry my gift." John stared at his hands. They glowed faintly, threads of light running across his skin like veins of silver. He flexed his fingers and the light brightened, pulsing with his heartbeat. He staggered back, horrified. "What have you done to me?" The guards rose slowly, stepping forward. They bowed again, deeper this time. One spoke, its voice like layered echoes. "The Queen has chosen. You carry her gift. You are her heir." John shook his head violently. "No, I don't want this. I'm not your heir. I'm not." The floor pulsed again. A new pathway opened, leading deeper into the ship. The guard stepped aside, gesturing for him to follow. John's chest burned with the second heartbeat. He knew he had no choice. The ship wanted him to walk forward. The Queen's gift demanded it. He moved slowly down the glowing path. The air grew colder, heavier, filled with whispers that seemed to crawl inside his skull. The walls shifted, showing flashes of stars, battles, dying worlds. It was as if the ship itself was testing him, showing him the weight of what he now carried. At last he entered a smaller chamber. At its center stood a pedestal of glowing crystal. Floating above it was a sphere of pure light, brighter than anything he had ever seen. It pulsed with power, each beat echoing with his own heartbeat. The Queen's voice returned one last time, faint but certain. "This is my core, my essence, the last fragment of what I am. Take it, and you will carry not just memory but the strength to face what is coming." John's throat tightened. His legs shook. "And if I don't?" The voice grew quiet. "Then humanity will stand alone, blind, unready, and the shadow will devour them." He stood frozen, staring at the sphere. His hands trembled. He had never asked for this, never wanted it. But the warmth in his chest pulled him closer, step by step. At last he reached out. His fingers brushed the sphere. Light exploded, it poured into him like a flood, rushing through his veins, filling every cell of his body. His eyes burned, his bones shook, his mind split with visions. Cities of light, weapons of power, knowledge that stretched beyond stars. He screamed, falling to his knees as the energy consumed him. Then silence. The chamber dimmed. The sphere was gone. The pedestal stood empty. John rose slowly, his body trembling. His skin still glowed faintly, his eyes reflecting silver in the light. He was no longer only human. The Queen's final gift was his, and with it came her last burden. John stood in the dim chamber, his body trembling. The Queen's final gift burned inside him, steady as fire, cold as starlight. His eyes glowed faintly silver now, and when he raised his hands, thin threads of light traced his skin. He was not the same man who had sat by his window only hours ago. The alien guard stepped forward, silent and tall. They bowed again, not to the dead Queen, but to him. Their dark eyes glimmered with something he could not name, respect, maybe even hope. John shook his head. "Stop, don't do that. I'm no ruler. I can't lead you." The tallest of the guards spoke, its voice like three echoes at once. "The Queen is gone, but her fire lives in you. That makes you the bearer. Whether you lead or not, you are chosen." The words pressed heavy on him. He wanted to scream that he was only human, that he didn't belong here. But the second heartbeat inside him pulsed stronger, and with it came her voice, soft and fading. "Do not fail me, human." John turned toward the crystal bed. The Queen's body was still, her crown of light gone, but he felt her everywhere, in the ship, in the guards, in himself. Her people's last hope rested inside him. His throat tightened. He whispered, "Why me? Why give this to someone who never wanted it?" But he already knew the answer. Because he was human. Because humanity was her last child, the last echo of her people. The ship trembled, its walls rippling like water. A deep hum filled the chamber, rising and falling like a heartbeat. Then, without warning, the floor shifted, carrying him backward. The guard stepped aside as the glowing path reformed beneath his feet. The ship was moving him. Corridors opened, walls bent, and suddenly he was at the center of the vessel. A massive dome stretched above him, clear as glass. Through it he saw the stars, endless, burning, cold. He gasped at the sight, his heart racing. Earth spun below, blue and small, fragile against the vast dark. For a long moment, he just stared. His home, his people, everything he had ever known, all so tiny, so weak. Yet inside that small world lived billions of lives, and now somehow their future rested on him. The Queen's voice whispered one last time in his mind. You must choose, John Carter. Hide, and humanity will be blind when the shadow comes, or carry my truth and prepare them. The choice is yours. The voice faded into silence. He knew he would never hear it again. John pressed his hand against the glass. His reflection stared back at him, his face but changed. His eyes silver, his skin glowing faintly. He looked like something caught between two worlds. Fear clawed at him. If he returned to Earth like this, who would believe him? They would call him mad, a liar, a freak. Governments would lock him away. Scientists would cut him open. He would lose everything, and yet, if he said nothing, if he tried to live as before, the truth would still burn inside him. The Queen's gift would not let him forget, and when the shadow came, humanity would be unready. His heart pounded. His chest ached with the weight of choice. Behind him, the guard spoke again. We are yours now. Wherever you go, we will follow. The Queen gave you her trust. We give you our lives. John turned slowly, staring at them. Their silver eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. They looked at him not as a stranger, but as something more. A leader, a bridge, a hope. He felt the fire inside him flare. Images rushed through his mind, visions of humanity's future. He saw cities burning, but also cities rising. He saw war, but also unity. He saw the shadow spreading across the stars and humanity standing together against it. The future was not fixed. It was waiting. John drew a slow breath. He pressed his fist against his chest, feeling the second heartbeat. He whispered, I don't know how. I don't know if I'm strong enough. But I can't let her die for nothing. The ship hummed louder, as if answering him. John turned back to the earth below. His fear was still there, sharp and heavy. But something else rose with it, resolve, he whispered. I'll tell them. I'll warn them. I'll carry her truth, no matter what it costs me. The silver light in his eyes flared. The guards bowed deeply. The ship shifted again. The dome above rippled and the stars bent. Light wrapped around him, warm and steady. Slowly, the earth below grew larger, closer. The ship was returning him home. John's breath quickened. Soon he would be back on the ground, back among his own kind. But he would not be the same. He carried the fire of another people now. He carried their last hope. The Queen's final words echoed one last time in his mind, faint as a breath. Do not fail me, human! John clenched his fists. His fear did not vanish, but it no longer ruled him. For the first time, he understood what he had to do. The ship descended, the light pulling him down toward the small house by the forest where his old life had ended. And as his boots touched the earth again, John Carter knew he was no longer just a man. He was the bridge, and humanity's future began with him.